we've seen it grow throughout the years, but I'll tell you, the backbone of this program was the love that stand behind it, my volunteers. We could not even done it without them, and the amount of kids that we have, so we're very proud, and I do want to introduce our coaches. Yeah, we get the team come on with it.
They need to see how good y'all look at all your nails.
I know they got clean, you hear them walking.
They got that hardware.
Like Mr. McBeady.
And we get our coaches come up. This is our head coach, Miss Lisa McNeil. Assistant coach, Miss Lewis. Another great volunteer to have, Miss Bentley there, one of my teachers. And I know that the rest of them must be busy. But like I said, these are the backbone of this program right here. As a former track coach from high school and youth, I was very pleased with the work and and just the hustle and the attitudes of the kids. It was very good. We're very proud of it. We wanted to show our kids off to the city, let you all know what represented the city of Jacksonville this past week, 2 weekends ago in the state track meet.
And out of the 99, I think it failed to mention is 59 qualified for our state competition. And that's not easy. 59. They earned their way there, and then when they got there, they showed out.
There was no us coming back to Jacksonville. All those medals.
But thank you for letting us show off our kids, I guess you could say. We're just, all weekend long, Ed was actually there at the competition. I was getting the text back and forth, and I think Coach about had a heart attack at one point during the meeting. So, and what they only recognized the overall winner at the state level, but if you broke it down to male and female, our guys actually came in first in the state. They had
Can we assemble them kind of and have them smile for a picture?
All right, how do you want to send them?
Well,
They're all Jesus. Come this way.
Yeah, make sure your coach is there.
Single player if you can get them.
You guys are all gonna have to get on the down. What is it about a mayor? What is it about mayor, coach, whatever?
Everybody look at Mr. Brandon, just smile.
There we go. Big old cheeks in your hands. There it is. 3, 2, 1. Gotcha. Perfect. Thank you.
Hey, if I can say just one thing briefly to the young people here. You see all these people around you, you work hard, but you can't get where you want to go unless you got people like this to help you. You got coaches to help you. So I'll always be thankful for what you have that kind of support. Right? And thank you for all your hard work and your dedication, because it wasn't easy, but it makes it a little easier when you got friends or family to help you more. So once again, congratulations.
Congratulations. Riker.
Just push top right.
It's Reagan.
That's an awesome group.
Yes,
That's good looking group.
See you, Doc.
Thank
Bye, Doc. Good job.
There's Richard.
after that, that's gonna be a hard act to follow, but we'll move on to, item C, JSU, e-scooter, Dr. Holt. Dr. Holt, there you are, sorry.
Hey, good afternoon, all.
How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing just fine. A little tough act to follow here, so I'm gonna do my best to keep it short and sweet and give you all the update from JSU.
Hold on, gave them a map already.
You already gave them that? Okay, that's fine. Thank you, Chief. So nevertheless, I'm Kevin Holt. I'm the Associate Vice President of Auxiliary Business Services here at Jacksonville State University. I'm here to talk about e-scooters. I was here, or rather give you an update on e-scooters. I was here about a year ago talking on behalf of the university about bringing an e-scooter program to campus. As you all are aware, e-scooters are here. Students are using them on campus every day. But nevertheless, I'm gonna give you an update of where we are. Our goal is to bring in a third party to campus, have an e-scooter program by the fall, this upcoming fall, as we start the academic year. You have an operational map, which is a rough draft of our chosen partnering company called Spin, depicting what they suggest our e-scooter layout should look like based on their expertise and the research that they have done on the landscape of our campus community. As you look at the map, you'll see several blue P's spread out around the map. Those P's on the map represent where the e-scooters will be deployed each morning. Spin provides an on-ground maintenance crew that will oversee the charging and replacement of scooters daily. In addition to the map, you'll see orange squares. The orange squares on the map depict areas on campus where e-scooters may not be parked or left unattended. With safety in mind, the scooters that we've selected will speed maximum of 15 miles per hour. As you look at the map again, the black highlighted area and the gray area rather depicts how far the scooters can operate. As you can see, the scooters will not go past Coffee Street South or past Nisbet Lake Road North, and no farther west than the baseball stadium, and no farther east than the church. Once a rider reaches the cutoff points, the scooters will shut down and no longer operate until the rider returns back into the gray shaded area. That pretty much gives you an overview of the map and the things that Spin has provided in their first draft. Again, this is the first draft of what the program will look like for our campus, and we will continue to review and make edits as deemed necessary to abide by city ordinance and provide the safest riding experience for our students. On the back side of the handout, you will see a little information, if you have that, a little information about Spin.
Thank you.
And the information in there, you'll see other campuses that who have partnered with Spin across the nation. In the state, you'll see Auburn. They have a program currently. In Georgia, you'll see University of Georgia, University of Florida in Florida, and Vanderbilt in Tennessee. We're not the first ones to bring this to campus, bring a campus here in Alabama, but we're excited about having a program coming this fall. So we all understand there's traffic and there are parking issues on our campus, and this is one of the ways we hope to address that moving forward. So that's pretty much an update of where we are with the e-scooter program. Like I said, we're hoping to have it in place by the fall. Are there any questions for me at this time?
It says no cost university, so they're gonna pay y'all for the right to be on the campus?
Excuse me?
Are they paying you the right to be on campus?
They're contracting with the university. They're not paying to be the right to be on the campus. What they do is they work with the individual, and the individual.
But who, I mean, does the university not receive any funds out of it? It's just one-on-one?
So the scooters will be able to operate within this gray area?
Yes, sir.
Chief, what about the safety issues that we have there on Church Street, which there's no sidewalks? Are they gonna be able to have egress actually on Church Street?
I hadn't saw this map until today, so we hadn't had a chance to kind of talk about those areas that are highlighted as far as like Church City and stuff like that. There would be some concerns on them either riding in places where there are no sidewalks for them to ride, so we hadn't had a chance to talk about that yet.
But you'll make sure that if they are in the right of way, or if they are actually on the street, they do have all safety regulations that's required from.
I think that one of the early things we talked about these scooters does have headlight, and they do have a rear facing tail light that'll be operational. So we do think that if they are riding in the road, that they will be able to have some type of illumination to let drivers know that they are on the road.
And I think it's a great idea. I think that's the way a lot of colleges are going, just simply for mode of operation there. I just have some safety concerns about when they do get off campus with them.
As we do as well, we do consider the safety of the program. University is working on policy, if not already completed, to, I guess, guidelines for the uses of e-scooters on campus. I'll say this, if we're not doing the program, the students will still bring e-scooters to campus. And we're trying to do our best to alleviate and have a little bit more control of what scooters are here on campus.
Thank you.
What about, I'm just trying to orient all of the, kind of there on the southwest side, some of that is in residential area.
Right.
Any experience with any of these other institutions where residential areas are included, which we know students live in those residential areas? I imagine, yeah, they can only park it in the designated parking area, is that correct?
Right.
But, you know, I mean, if somebody, I'm just trying to maybe think about campus as one subset, but then, you know, private property situation, even though there's, you know, maybe the city owns a little bit of the right of way,
Right.
how far, because some of that would be completely off the right of way and it can still be operable. Is that right?
That's right, that's correct, and I believe what would be best for us to do is to take that question back with our partners and see what can we do to address that, maybe even so not take them so far into the residential area as well.
I mean, I could see it along, I mean, I know from a polygon versus a line situation, is polygon kind of including all of that area, but maybe, you know, we're really only looking along the city street and the right of way, maybe not the private property that's operating
Good point.
within that.
Sherry, you already have any? Any other questions?
I just think we yield to the chief and his staff to look at it, because I got maybe one or two questions of why we're so far down here when, but.
Well, I can
I'll yield.
see the option to get students into the city center and the square of, I think that's a nice exit the campus, come to the city square, do business.
If our sidewalks were in better shape, I'd be all for it.
And that, yeah, I yes, completely agree.
So did you say that the SPAN would maintain and wouldn't create any local jobs for this would it?
Say it again.
Did you say that SPAN would maintain these scooters? It wouldn't
Yes.
create any local jobs for
I'm
them?
sure they would hire within the city to assist with the program. If you think about it, they'll bring in, I guess, their management team and then look for students or individuals to hire to help. You know, it's a large area.
Yeah.
And there's gonna be several employees that you're gonna have to hire to bring in to help get the scooters charged over.
It might be a little different model, but with the bicycles, we use Via Ride.
Yes.
I'm familiar with them, but
Very similar.
they did hire a local Jack State student, graduated from here. He was their on-site person, and I think they were even paying for some office space on the square.
They will find a space to rent here in town.
So yeah, there was some of that, and even not bicycle repair, but I mean they were using some kind of they were looking for some kind of shop. I would imagine with this it would be a very similar, because to perform that maintenance, they might be looking for a local place.
Yes.
You're good? Thank you, Dr. Hart.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Somebody's at my front door.
Item D is human resources personnel discussion. Joy? Evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
All right, we'll start with my job description. The first thing I wanted to do is change my title to HR Director. When I go to meetings, when I go to interviews, I'm introduced as the HR Director. So just keep it, that's what I'll be. The range we're putting in there is a 23. I was a 20, and I would like to move this to a 23. The workload, I think, is going to be a lot greater. The responsibility is a lot greater. In HR, right now I deal with all the new hires. I see all our employees. In this position, I will see every prospective employee and every employee. The grievances will come to HR office, so I felt like the range increase was warranted. And there's a few other changes. Do y'all want to talk about them? Have you looked at it? And I need to just be quiet?
I would like a brief overview.
Brief
like the other.
overview.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
all of those essential functions.
Okay. The main thing was oversees all aspects of employment processes to include job advertising, taking, receiving applications, and the testing procedures. Further down, I would be supervising the HR assistant and the janitorial staff. And this employee also oversees the grievance procedures and hearings, coordinates advertising, accept applications, plan testing if the department head requires that, reviewing applications to see who's eligible, who's not, keep a register of all persons eligible for that position, make sure that no appointments over a year on that list, conducts and coordinates investigations involving disciplinary actions or employee grievances, recommends action, performs administrative duty for appeal hearings. And on the third page, there's something about the policies and procedures. We took out Civil Service Board there and put our policy and procedures. And on the other page, just knowledge of recruitment, job analysis, job design, compensation, classification, and test development. What I did on this, I took what the civil service did and what our policy book said HR will now do and put that in this job description. So,
But isn't a lot of that is gonna be delegated though to your assistant? Isn't she doing a lot of that stuff now?
yes, she is.
Okay.
But we'll do it together and I'll still oversee all of it.
Any questions for Joy?
With the raise that was passed at the last meeting, what did that put you, how much closer did that put you to where you wanna be?
Where I wanna be, I'm.
Well, I mean, we all wanna be.
There we go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
a
I wanna make
realistic
$1 million.
where I wanted to be, I wanted a 3-step increase plus the one that everyone got. But I think
So
the
you want a
mayor
total
and
of
I.
4 steps?
4, with that one. I don't count that one that, that everybody's getting. I don't count that
But
one.
it does count, I mean,
But, the mayor and I talked about it, and he said he just felt at this time it was only gonna be a 2-step, so. Plus the one that June 5 will bring.
She did that addition in the beginning, want a higher range too, sort of compromise.
Yeah.
a little.
The range I thought deserved a higher range because of just the level of responsibility. I feel like I have a lot of responsibility now, but I'm gonna be going home with headaches now and
We all do.
worries and, yeah, we all do.
we all do that.
I just feel like it's a higher level of responsibility, especially with the amount of people that I'm gonna be having contact with, advising, that kind of stuff. But y'all make the rules, so.
My favorite question is, what about the money? I mean, this is not gonna be a way to generate any money. We're taking money out of the budget, so
But we're also saving what we paid civil service board.
How much did we pay civil
There is
service
a
board?
savings there. It's
Every year.
Three, with just these three members, it's 3,000 something a year. I believe, am I right?
I think it's almost closer to about 7,000.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Is what we paid. What Joy is talking about, the increase is about $4,500.
okay, that's, I like numbers. So it'd be so figure that line item budget $4,500.
Is this something we're looking to do now, or are we setting this up in next fiscal year?
I know.
We'll have to have a job description of some kind approved,
Right.
whether you approve of it, have this range or not, it's gonna be up to y'all, but we've gotta, July 1, we gotta have something in place. That's when civil service board no longer exists after June 30.
And I'll move on to Pam's, the human resources assistant. We're gonna move her to HR as my assistant that I've asked for year after year after year. I'm so excited about that. The employees know Pam. I think it'll be a great transition. I think we work well together. I know her strengths. I know her weaknesses, and we will help each other with all of that. So I'm excited to get her. First of all, I don't know that job, so I'm gonna be relying heavily on her to teach me that job, so.
So if we change the job for her, we have to do a job description for her too?
It's
It's
both,
on here.
it's both, it's on.
It's on both on the
It
same.
is. We have them on the agenda, item 16, item 17, we do both of those.
Well,
Anything else for Joy? Thank you, Joy.
thank you for what you do.
Are we gonna stay with 23, or y'all gonna talk about it, and,
I was about to ask that, see what everyone thought.
yeah, whatever, just so I know.
Sure. So what's the consensus? We move forward with this?
Well, the change we made, somewhere in there, we've gotta do something because of July 1, right?
Yes.
That, it's on the agenda to vote, so,
Just why I was asking if, just, since it's gotta go, if we leave it on the agenda, it will need to be, it'll have to be voted on. So I didn't know
Take it off, no.
so,
we have to do something tonight, or, because we've got a lot of requests, maybe, and some of these others that we can,
We can at least
No,
gotta
you have,
get the
you have another meeting this month, you could do it later meeting, you don't have to do it tonight.
I mean, personally, I think it'd be better for us to sit down and talk about all the moves and all the.
All the personnel discussion,
Yeah,
hear it all.
Yeah, on some of that, I do.
And I agree with you, and I'm not being disrespectful. I don't wanna get lost in, people trying to get more employees. This is something that's happening. I didn't ask for it. I'm just wanting to get compensated for it.
Surprise!
So,
And, once the June the 20th, Civil Service Board
There's not
meeting,
another meeting after that, right?
it's over. Pam they won't do anything else. She'll be down, if y'all approve this, down here working. She will need all of that will need to make that transition before she comes down here, I would think.
But she's been working some here anyway though, right? I mean,
she works for an hour and a half
yeah,
and that.
so I mean, it's not like she's coming in cold either.
she doesn't have a job description to come into though if this doesn't get approved, you know what I'm saying?
I get that, but I mean, she's been doing this for a long time. I mean, it's not like somebody brand new coming in too.
Okay, let him hear before, let him enjoy this conversation, okay?
I see what you're saying, Cody. I would like to get it settled. It's a big change for Pam, big change for me, and we just wanna get settled. That's all I'm asking. Just let us figure out what we're gonna do and move forward. Because before July 1, we'll be doing some things. We'll be doing some trainings. So there's things that will be going on before July 1, so.
All right, now, what you said, the mayor said it would be just a two-step, because we've already given one step, and this would be a two-step, and get you to 23. And it's what, $4,500, Robert?
We already paid out 7,000
And this is something that we did, the point I think Joy made is something that we created, so we need to follow through with it.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Another point I'd like to make, if they moved me to the range 25 that I felt like this position deserved, I'm not asking to go higher on the scale. I'm still asking for the 3 steps, for being the June 5 one. But I'm not asking to go up way on the scale if I go to 25. I feel like some of our positions are not in the right ranges. We've always known that, and thankfully y'all done what you could with our pay to get us up higher. So that's all I'm gonna say. Cody, did you have another concern or question?
That's the one question I got right now. Thank you.
Okay.
And I agree that there are still some tweaks that need to be done, but we need to make sure we don't do too much all at once. I know you feel like you deserve that 25, and I know as far as financially, it wouldn't put you anywhere. It'd just give you more steps, some more years
Yeah.
to work
Yeah,
through.
it would still be the 45.
But I still think this may be a good starting point for it, and if, say, if we were to kind of go down and look at everyone across the board, what some other adjustments we could make.
All right, one more quick question, and I'll try to be quiet. The 4,500, is that over a 12-month span, or is that just
That's
from now to the end of budget?
No, that's annual, from an annual perspective.
Anything else?
This
for
year,
Joy?
you've got just a quarter left this year.
Anything else for Joy?
I don't have a question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jordan.
We're gonna leave that on the agenda.
I'd leave it to see.
You okay? Cody, you okay?
Yeah.
Andy? I mean, we're not voting, we're just nodding. Because we can't officially vote.
Can we wink?
Yeah, we can nod.
I'm just stretching my neck.
Yeah, next is, item E, Police Department Personnel Decision, Chief Wood.
What we got this season?
Well, that's what I'm saying, he didn't go Class A, he went on green and gold on it.
Color of money.
Yeah, exactly, that's what I said earlier.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So, in front of you, you've got a packet that I provided of the table organization for the police department. First, I'd like to just say thank you for the pay increase that you guys approved on June the 5th for us. It has certainly put us in line to compete with other departments in the county. It's created a lot of buzz. We've been able to talk to a lot of prospective employees who are looking more at the Jacksonville Police Department, and we couldn't be more proud of that. And we just want to say thank you for allowing us to be able to do that and put that out. I'll give you some quick stats of the police department, kind of what we've done since January. Since January 1 up until today, we've answered about 4,600 calls for service, 2,500 traffic stops. We've made about 138 felony arrests with 404 misdemeanor arrests. The officers have worked 390 traffic accidents, issuing about 1,300 citations, and served about 130 warrants. So I give that because I want to just say that, you know, while they have been very busy, part of why I'm up here is asking for more police personnel. I would like to add another lieutenant and 2 police officer positions. If you look at that scale, the first page, what I gave you, is where we stand today and how our organization is organized now. One of the issues we'd like to add that lieutenant position is, if you'll see our current scale, right now that lieutenant position is kind of like a juggernaut. There's a lot of people below him, not more people above him, and so he is responsible for everything patrol, investigations, and SROs, and that's a lot of people. If you'll flip to that second page, you'll kind of see better how it's broken down, and what we would ask to do is add another lieutenant. That would help us create 3 divisions to where we would separate some kind of command and control. We would have one lieutenant that would supervise the patrol and SROs. The other one would supervise investigations and dispatch, and that kind of separates the people in the police department. Doing that, it would promoting that another lieutenant, like I said, would create 3 divisions, separate responsibilities a little bit better, and we think we'd get better supervision by being responsible for less people. And through that promotion, we think that we get more opportunities for employees to promote up the chain of command and organizational chart. Adding those 2 police officer positions, we'd like to take the opportunity to start a professional standards and training officer. A couple of months ago, you guys approved for us to sign a contract with a company called Lexipol in redoing our policies. So as we've been going through that process, we've kind of figured out where we're weak in some areas and where we're strong in some areas. And so we think adding that professional standards and training officers would give us an opportunity to have somebody who 100% of the time is thinking about training for the department, and that person would be able to find training, teach training, sign officers up for training, and ensure that every certified officer has 12 CEUs a year, like the state makes us do. And we think that person would allow us to have better trained officers, and we would not forget and make sure that we do those annual trainings like sexual harassment, anti-discrimination, those yearly trainings that we have to do. We'll make sure those things get done by having that person. Also, that person will be responsible for being a department recruiter. So, and let me just say this, we have people that do that stuff now, but they're dividing from other tasks. You know, one person is the sergeant over investigations, so when he has to leave and go do a recruiting event, it's taken away from him being the sergeant over investigations, or we have other officers over investigations filling in those spots. So we think this person being dedicated and having a responsibility of doing that can attend more of those functions and help us recruit better. They'll also serve as our internal investigation officer and one of our background investigators for when we hire prospective new employees. So we think that adding at least that position, a lieutenant position and another officer position for patrol, that while everybody's still pulling that wagon in the same direction, we'll kind of spread out those responsibilities in that weight a little bit better and help pull it. And then the other officer position, we'd like to add it to another offline. We have 2 officers on each offline that split, have a split shift and work some of those busy times to give us the maximum amount of people that we can during those busy hours. And like I said, that he'd be split on that offline, better coverage during those busy hours, and he could backfill a shift if needed. So overall, adding these positions, I think, will put us better in line with what I said of reviewing our Lexipol policies. As we continue to grow as a city in business and residential development, help us better serve those areas where we're growing at. Also, as the university grows and hosting more college and high school sports activities, will give us the opportunity to have more officers and more supervision to be able to control those events as we have them more. Safer city, other cities around us are pushing their criminals out of their cities and into other jurisdictions. So I believe being able to have that will ensure that we can continue that trend and push them out of the city of Jacksonville as well, and push them to where they can go in other places. But then we think that having these people as well will give all officers the resources that they need to arrest and prosecute, so we can have successful prosecution when those individuals break the law in the city of Jacksonville. And then I know the hard question is always the money, so that last page will give you how much it costs to add those 3 positions. All of it's kind of broken down, about everything that goes into a salary. When we did it, we estimated it at step 5, which we know that they can come in a little bit less than that or come in less than that. So that's kind of what we would say is the maximum range, and that number could be less if you guys chose to do it.
My question is, we're looking at coming into a new school year, from university and from the city school, and the growth of the town and the amount of people that even come here for ball games, band competitions, and to shop at Walmart and go to Whataburger. To me, this is, I guess that most everybody feels like we all do. The fire and the police are our key. If they're not doing well and they're not protecting the city, then we've got an image problem that nobody's gonna wanna come to. So my point is, if the numbers are crunch, I think it would be a good investment, because you're just about full staff. This would be just 3 additional, and I know we've had conversations before that, you know, with the way the world is turning and everybody is, you probably could use 5 or 6 more if you want to get technical, but these 3 would give you more flexibility for more boots on the street and stuff like that, right?
Yes, sir. We've got 37 sworn now, 1 open position pending your approval of the officer that's on the agenda for tonight, and we'll be full. Like I said earlier, just the thing that you guys on June the 5th were giving us that raise, we've seen a highly increase in highly qualified individuals applying and having interest coming here. And I'll just say this, kind of the guy that you guys will hopefully approve tonight is a 13-year guy. He was a sergeant at another department. He comes to us with a master's degree, very educated guy. So those are the kind of quality of people that we now have applying, and we look to continue to be able to attract those kind of individuals and put them to work here in the city of Jacksonville.
Is that on the agenda tonight? I don't think I saw it.
It's not.
So thinking back to the conversation that we had a minute ago, if this moves right now, civil service meeting is when? 20th? Thursday?
Job descriptions are ready for these positions?
Yes, sir.
Well,
I'm just trying to figure if it's not, then I don't know how much longer it gets
exactly. We don't know when they'll be able to get it.
delayed, but I mean, I know that's what Joy's there to do now.
Will you need new job descriptions?
No, they're already in place.
Okay.
So they're ready.
All right, yeah.
I know you said this, but have you found recently with what we've been able to do, there are more qualified people for you to pick from than you've had in years past, right? Of getting to come be on the force and stay on the force.
Yes, sir. I'll just say it too. With your help, we've been able to force some departments who have been kind of leading in that realm in the county for a very long time. We've forced them to kind of rethink what they're doing and constantly go back to the drawing board on you guys giving us permission to be able to do some different stuff to recruit people. So we're right there in the fight with some other people on getting those quality people. So it has been tremendous for us in those conversations and the type of people that are interested in coming.
I see your need. I see for the span of control that you have some gaps in now that would help seal some of those gaps. My concern is with, and not just you, with everything else we have going on tonight, I don't want us to get too top heavy and being, I hate to use the word burden, the burden of more financial responsibility that in the past or in the future, it may stop us from being able to give COLAs. I just don't know if the numbers are there to make it. I know you need it. I see how it makes it work.
and then we just need to see what everyone thinks once we get to that point.
Chief, how big would the issue would it be if we made this a part of the discussion as we go into the budget season rather than do it
Yeah.
now? So we know more about where we are, where we're able to afford it now. I'm concerned about the fact that we're getting, you know, I always got, all of y'all know, I'm pretty conservative. I get kind of concerned when we started going over 59% of our budget being for salary fringe benefits. We're easing up toward about 62, 63% right now. So we're getting really, we're gonna have to start laying people off or cutting back on something, you know, instead of hiring more. But if we could look at the budget, if you looked at the sales tax lately, you realize it is really increasing and doing well. So I thought we'd give that time to see where we are, maybe rather than do it right now, it might be a little easier to swallow.
And some of our new businesses, they continue to have double lines all the way out to one.
Somebody's gotta maintain that track.
I sure did. Signage was good. Electronic signage was a good idea the other day also.
And I just add that all of what you're gonna hear tonight, you're in the neighborhood, close to 850K of everything that you're gonna hear tonight.
We're close to one.
Personnel, 850K.
Per year,
Pardon?
per year.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's for the new
We move
positions.
forward this in the next fiscal year that you're looking at. 8
Right,
years.
for the new position, 2025, that's what we're talking, that's the major.
Is the mayor still sitting up straight?
I'm not, but he is.
I'd already heard that number, so I think.
So, all right, Bert, when do we start, knowing you've already started, but when we sit down, as far as the, budget and we start reviewing departments, that's what, July and August?
Yes, so the departments have already submitted their information to me. I just completed the pay portion of it. So this week I'll start adding that pay portion. I'll sit down with department heads, probably starting sometime this month, in the beginning of July.
So they'll submit like what they're wanting to do, give us tonight, they'll submit that.
Right, I've got all the information relative to pay. I actually do the pay part for them, so I've got that already done. It's all the other things that will get added based on what they have submitted in terms of requirements. But it's a process. It won't get to you all as the council. It'll probably be beginning of August before we start setting up the normal meetings.
Yeah.
And you'll have an opportunity to see everything.
Why, is this just for thought process? Are there certain people out there now that we may lose that would benefit us more than money, or is it just, we can, with the pool that you've got now, you could find another lieutenant, and are you gonna promote from within, or?
Oh, yes, sir, it'll be from within.
I like ways to find of creating, you know, advancement opportunities for those that don't always come along. You can't do it for everybody at every time, right? That's good.
Well, with the chief also, we're still trying to update the department to where it needs to be from years past. So, once again, I understand completely, I just don't know how financially how it fits in.
Yes.
Anything else? Good?
We'll just do, I mean, would it be best to do it all?
Well, that's,
All of it?
I mean,
Yeah.
is it a one right now? I mean, yeah, kind of, is that what you're thinking about, like a progressive instead of all three together? Is that what you're thinking? Was that what
I'm
you were
just talking
thinking?
about all these requests.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was thinking
Yeah.
more in line with what Chief is presenting just on
I
this
do a
one.
lieutenant and a
Well,
officer.
that's what I was trying to figure, is if there was a prioritization of, hey, we would really need this first, and then, because I mean, I saw what Scott sent out. I mean, revenues look wonderful.
Good, yeah.
I mean, but at the same time, that can change tomorrow. So, just kind of how we did, you know, the beginning of the new fiscal year. We said, hey, we'd kind of assess it. Is there any option for, if we're looking at a tiered approach to this, is, hey, we had to go one, come back at some point, go another, assess, go again? Is that it?
That would work, yes, sir.
Would you think that one of these would be like to get the command structure to have the lieutenant first? Or
Yeah, cause that would allow, if you did the lieutenant and that would be the only one, you would still be able to promote and hire an officer at the bottom of that, essentially.
Yeah, cause that's gonna create some
Correct.
Movement.
domino
Yeah.
effect. And those lieutenants are, or that, I saw Campbell here a minute ago, but, he was pulling in as I was walking in, but thinking about the way that they work, I mean, they're not just salary, are they also getting getting any
Correct.
overtime?
They are.
Okay.
Well, you're looking at a lieutenant position at 63, and if you hired a new position for officer, that's 55.
And that's on the higher end, cause we based them off range, on step 5, so that's a little bit higher
Yeah.
than.
But the officer you promote, you've already got a base salary built in, so there's a differential part of going up to 63.
But you have to
Correct.
replace,
But then you're gonna
But
replace that
then you gotta
officer.
replace that
So you
officer
gotta-
at 55.
Yeah.
I was just wondering if that was could you do one and then evaluate?
Take smaller bites out of the apple.
Something.
Keep that up.
Patty's gonna give you a sheet that summarizes all of the new requests that you're gonna see
Thank you.
tonight.
That's
Oh,
great.
wow, that's nice.
Yeah, and the other thing I would tell you, you know that when we budget for health insurance, I always budget for the family rate. So as they come in, if it's not family, if it's single, of course, it's less, or even if they do the opt-out, it's less. But at least you can see where the numbers are.
Gotcha. Okay.
So really, we're at a point where we just go wait and go to, the budget process, because if you wanted to get them in position for the fall and everything, it would have to go through the night, basically. Correct?
It'd be nice if we could wait and make a final decision, but on the next meeting, but I know the timeline's gonna.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Because the changes that we made with the pay scales, just, that went into effect this past week, cost us about $400,000 for next fiscal year.
I think because I've done the 2025, and with the 2025 comes the projections for pay raises that will happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you, that's another $178K that's added to that, just based on that alone.
So if we, I'm playing this in my mind. So if we actually hired another officer tonight, besides the one that you've got, then you could take and make a promotion, right?
Yes, sir, Stu. If you approve that position.
So we add one more hire tonight as just a regular officer. And then you would have, the one you promote would be the differential of the 63 to wherever they are now, right? So it wouldn't be, but it'd be under $100,000. Am I saying that wrong?
I think
It wouldn't be on a 12-month, because you would just be paying between now and,
October. Right,
Yeah,
next
September,
six
September.
But then,
3 or 4 months.
but you still, if that officer wasn't promoted, he'd still be in a line of money of what.
But I think the idea would be, if that position is vacated, then there would be
Another
there'd
hire.
be a vacancy.
Yeah, I was just trying to figure out if we got one.
those
Just to
months,
stay at
those
full
months
time.
would still decrease, because as you promote and go through that process, it would take some weeks, so you would still get into paying less for this fiscal year versus.
And I know it sounds like I'm being wishy-washy here, and I know Chief is very intelligent, he can do this, but I know for a fact that we're trying to implement something like this, it's much easier to implement it as a whole piece.
I know.
Than to try to piecemeal it in there. Not saying he couldn't do that, but the pieces would fit, the pieces of the puzzle would fit better if you could do these 3 positions on it.
So we're just gonna do all 3 tonight, is that what you're saying?
Well, no, that's just, I'm trying to help him out here.
No, I I would surely take the lieutenant position, because that would still create some movement, and we would still be able to, promote some people and hire an officer at the bottom of that. So that would at least give us an option to do the lieutenant and the training officer, because we could still hire to backfill that promotional slot.
Yeah, could you hire that if there was a vacancy, if there's a lieutenant, I'm guessing there's some others that are gonna,
Correct.
then that position is, call it, I hate to say the bottom, but I mean, you know what I'm talking
Right,
about?
yes, sir.
Is that person feasible to be that training individual?
Correct, it is.
So even though you're netting 1 + 1, you might be able to use that vacancy to be one of these.
To accomplish that goal.
To
yes, sir.
accomplish that, so that's.
All right, how, is it ready to be put on the agenda? If we hire one, we allow him to have just one position?
Hire an additional one than one besides the one we're hiring, or that's already on the list.
Well, it would just be.
The three, I'm
Do you
sorry.
have a name?
No.
No. he's
Just
talking
add
about
the
approve
additional position?
Add the
I mean, I
position.
can write it up if that's what
Approve
y'all
the
want to do.
position, because they still need to go through the hiring process.
Yeah.
Correct.
An additional position of a lieutenant, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yes.
Do y'all wanna add that tonight?
Yes, I do, I'm not spelling it.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah,
Thank-
I'm
thank you,
looking
ma'am.
at that
Thanks, Pat.
impact. That impact is a little bit absorbable.
Well, it's just, there's a lot going on.
No, I guess not.
No, that's, yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you, Patty, for being with us. Next is street department personnel discussion, Mr. Stanley Carr.
There is an
No, I
amendment,
saw,
E1,
there's an amendment,
fire
Yeah.
department personnel discussion,
Yeah.
for your amendments.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, you don't see it until later, but it's an amendment.
sorry, Stanley.
and hang on, Stanley's is a lot less. We might wanna hear his.
Well, I want to reiterate what Marcus said, and thank y'all for the raise, and, because I'm seeing the same results that he's seeing, people that just last week, we wouldn't have had a chance to hire and start to apply to us. So, what you did is working. So what I come with you to tonight is we all knew when our hospital closed several years ago that it would eventually put a strain on our EMS. Back when Jacksonville Hospital was operating, about 75% of our calls could go to the hospital and keep our EMS units in service. Well, as we all know, that changed, and now RMC has plans to shut down Stringfellow Hospital, which will also take EMS beds out of the county. So how does that affect EMS? Well, when the hospital fills up, you have to start venturing out further to either Etowah County or possibly now to St. Clair County to St. Vincent's. Well, those calls take a lot of time, so it takes on-duty ambulances out of town and requires them to do that road time and possibly wall time. So what I'm asking for in the next budget is to put another EMS unit on within the fire department. They'll all be dual trained. I honestly do believe standing here that we'll be able to hire trained folks, that we won't have to have the outlay of our educational expenses that's super expensive. I believe we'll be able to bring those folks in that already has that training. So I think the raise will be a plus when it comes to that. But EMS in Calhoun County is very, very tight. We all depend on mutual aid at times where another agency comes in, and those calls are taking longer and longer if you do need a mutual aid call. We got an aging population throughout the United States. Alabama is one of the leading states with an aging population. The university's growing. Traffic over the weekend in Jacksonville was terrible. You know, there's a lot of people that I believe came in for Whataburger or whatever. But our needs are just growing that, you know, we have to put this other unit on eventually. So we've made some discussions and talked about it previously. So this year it was put in the budget. And I know it's a bitter pill to swallow if you see that number I seen today.
So these, you said that's for the next budget?
Yeah, we could wait till next budget to do that. It would take probably, if we started tomorrow, we'd probably, well, maybe not that long, but it would take a while to get the folks in anyway.
How's that gonna affect your rolling stock? You know, to get another unit? I know you have one now, but you have for a backup?
We would not, with this new crew operating our current building, we would not have a backup. That's probably something that we would have to look at later is getting another ambulance. It would really affect us during JSU football games. That's where normal day-to-day operations, we would be fine. We would have backup. We would have no backup during JSU events, football games, graduations.
Any questions?
No, I'm good.
Any questions?
I'm good.
There's one other thing. I would like to request the council, I talked with the mayor about it today, about making 3 shift captains. Right now I have 6 lieutenants. Wouldn't require hiring anybody. I would just reclassify 3 of my 6 lieutenants to captains. One of them would be in charge of EMS operations, ordering our supplies, making sure all our training's up to date, conducting the classes, going to certain meetings at the state, mandatory meetings at the state. We have to attend hospital meetings and meeting with other EMS directors in the county. The other 2 captains this is typical fire department. Most every fire department operates this way. The other 2 would be station captains. One would be a station captain at Station 1, and the other would be a station captain at Station 2. We don't have to be like other departments, but we're the only department in the county that doesn't have station captains currently. It also helps when the assistant chief's in charge or on leave or out for extended reason. The shift captain moves up and operates in his spot. So we definitely have a need and a role for a shift captain. And it's something that I would like to see. It gives the guys that work here another step to aspire to, but we wouldn't have to hire anybody since we're reclassifying 3 of the lieutenants.
Cost?
3%. I didn't figure the cost because I didn't know we were that far yet, but I figured it would be a 3%. When they moved up to the captain's pay, 1 step.
Would you keep your lieutenants, have lieutenants and captains?
Yeah, we would have lieutenants and captains. We just wouldn't have 6 lieutenants. We'd have 3 lieutenants and 3 captains. That was
I think if you, once again, it's span control, organizational chart. But it's something we're gonna address for next budget.
Right.
Thank
Any
you.
questions? I know that ambulance part, the first one we talked about, is a big pill to swallow. It would be revenue producing, but nowhere near revenue neutral. So I just want to throw that in here. It would make money off the calls that it
Yeah, but
brings,
it's not gonna pay
but
itself.
no.
Keith told me you've got the next one too.
Yeah, I think you got another one.
Last council meeting, I believe it was, you approved a diesel exhaust system from a grant. We're not diesel exhaust system specialists, but I almost feel like I am now. There's a big difference between track and rail. Our specifications specified a rail type system. The low bidder bidded a track system, rail, road, track. So I assumed that was pretty much one and the same, but it's different. So the other bidder has questioned the bid. So in consultation with Richard, Brenda, myself, and Lieutenant Hunter, we thought it would be in our best interest to just rescind that bid, clarify the bid specs, and rebid it.
You're actually rescinding the resolution that awarded the bid, and then approving another resolution that will reject all the bids for the first bid, and then we will rebid it out, and the new bid will be brought to you at that time.
Okay.
And I think we have those specifications clear now, since we're educated on what the difference between track and rail.
Anything else for the chief?
Mhm.
No.
Thank you, chief.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
For what you and your staff do.
Okay, now I think we're ready for Stanley.
Here comes the man.
I'd like to thank y'all on behalf of the street department for the raise as well. It made a lot of people happy down there, including myself. I'll try to keep it short and sweet. Basically, all I've got is, I've got a vacant operator 1A spot that I need to fill. We had one of our employees that moved up when Cephas Cannon retired into a operator 2, so it opened up that position. And I'm sure y'all remember for several years we've been trying to hire a mechanic. Success. So what I'd like to do is try to build one. I'd like to take it'll actually be equivalent to one of our operator 1As, but it'd be a position to where, you know, we can take an employee and let him work with our mechanic as much as possible. It'll take some pressure off the mechanic we have now because, you know, he'll be able to get parts and that sort of thing and do some of the simpler jobs, but also get some on-the-job training and maybe, you know, depending on their learning curve, maybe a year or two down the road, we can actually move him up to the mechanic. Now, we do have in the budget a vacant mechanic's position open, but this will be a lesser position until we can get somebody that's trained well enough to, you know, go put new brakes on the chief's
So new job description.
pursuit vehicle.
So new job description also.
Yeah, it is a new job description. It's real similar to the mechanic's position, but it's, you know, it's got some verbiage in there saying that it's a training position. And there's nothing in there that guarantees that they'll ever move above that, but, you know,
Right.
if we,
I know the difficulty you've had to try to fill that position the last couple of years. I think this is a good move.
I agree.
It's a good move to try, like you said, build one. Great.
Well, if you can't buy it, you
that's it.
And you have the budget, you have the position already budgeted.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't it wouldn't be
Yeah.
a extended cost.
So just so you know, he's had that position, but that position has not been budgeted because he could never get any money in it. What we did do though was we did increase the overtime for the mechanic that he did have. And I think this year, even when I look at overtime, he hadn't been using all of that overtime. So, if this is one that he's going to, if you're gonna approve the creation of it, then certainly in the 25 budget, and you've got the cost in front of you there, we'll build that position back in, the budget for it back in. And maybe you'll be able to reduce the overtime a little bit.
Well,
In that account.
for the first year or so, probably not, because
Probably
I really don't want him here by himself. You know what I'm saying? I ain't saying we can't cut back on it some, but I don't wanna take it off the board till we get, you know, somebody in the spot, see how they do, and, you know, they may work 6 weeks and go to work at, you know, one of the dealers downtown or whatever, you know, the job market's kinda crazy at the moment. You don't really know what to expect.
I think that's where you have them starting those would be a good starting point. Especially if you're looking at an individual that needs some training and and has the knowledge, needs the experience.
Yeah.
That's difficult to try to find out. Anything for Stanley?
Ooh, I'm good.
Good. And that is on tonight's agenda, is it not?
Yes. 17?
18?
18.
Thanks, Stanley.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Stan.
I think it's your turn.
My turn.
All right, Janice.
Mine is gonna be really simple. We have had a part-time temporary laborer in place, for a while now, and it was to help us get through some crisis times when we had people taking on other responsibilities when people were out sick or when there was a death in the family and things like that. But we have come to realize that that is a very valuable position. It's already being paid. I think the only difference, cause what I'm asking for, I think Bert figured up based on 29 hours. We really just need someone about 15 hours a week. So we would like to just make this person a, permanent part-time. Any questions?
Yeah, will this person and this change, will this help us with our overall management and upkeep of our parks?
This is more for the inside. Just like
So if
for
we
the
were to-
inside, it would be a community center labor.
Right, so since we cannot keep up with the maintenance in our parks, would it be better just to close the parks and not hire this person at all?
No, this person would not be for the parks unless you need.
So we don't have, apparently we don't have anyone for our parks to maintain our parks.
Yeah, well, we have 12 and they're doing the best they can as fast as the grass grows. They're doing.
No, I'm talking about just general cleanliness and maintenance and the same swing set that's been broke for the last 2 years that you know discussed.
Okay, I thought it had been fixed. I'm sorry. So,
You're incorrect.
yeah, no, that would be, that would be in the maintenance.
Summertime, we should know that, you know, that,
Right.
we have very few things in Jacksonville to do as far as what I call just, you know, events and things to go and people to do, quality of life type of things. Our parks could be beautiful parks. And,
Right.
there's somehow, some way, we have failed the citizens of Jacksonville greatly by not maintaining our parks, not even maintaining our new park equipment that we put at Eastwood. It looks like total hell, because it's not been maintained, not been cleaned, some
That's
of the
because
trees.
it's under trees, but yeah.
Well,
I
that's
can't
just
get 'em out
it.
there
You know,
with
they
you.
have these things called saws. You know, some of those trees could have been removed, just like some of them were, and maybe give them a little larger perimeter so that pine is most.
I can work on that.
Everyone who lives in the south knows that if you put something under pine trees, it's gonna get dirty. But, you know, you've got Germania that does, you know, their pines are so the way, so there's really not any excuses for those, that equipment to be grass growing and the gravel being down
Right.
and just, you know, not a good experience to take your grandchildren to the park in Jackson. So it's kind of
We'll
disappointing.
work on that.
Well, even this, restrooms at Germania Springs, that should be able to be a better control
If
on
we,
the
and
place.
that's just it, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
But if there's something that we need to do as a council, I'm sorry, I know I've hammered you with this. But
Yeah.
if it's something on our end that we need to be doing, we need to know that. We need to know what you need to make this better. Like we said to others, it can't be a blank check. I'm pretty sure with the great staff that you do have, that our parks could be in much better shape.
And that comes back to planning, maybe, I think I mentioned you, rotation of every year, each park gets upkeep. We got four parks? Four? You know, on a yearly basis, we do upkeep.
Even if we had a
stuff,
year,
so.
every year we concentrate on that part, so that after 3 or 4 years, it's not,
Well,
it's still gonna get.
What's the daily, it might not be daily, it might be daily. Cause I know I was out at Germania Springs recently, and I know the folks that I counted there were a lot of out-of-town folks, which was really cool, cause I got to see them. But that was on the weekend, so say like Monday morning, is there any, checklist of, hey, we're gonna go to this park, we're gonna kinda do that, call it walk the grounds, or we're gonna do this assessment, because it gets heavily used on the weekend, and my assertion is that's when problems happen. I mean, I know that the night times the parks are closed, but we know probably over the weekend, do they check on those Monday morning, or?
They
and that's-
usually do trash runs through all the parks, twice a week.
Trash runs, yeah, cause that usually gets taken out,
Right.
but I'm talking about, hey, we're gonna look for,
We have broken boards.
is there
We
a
have
broken
screws
board?
that run out.
Yeah.
That have been that way for months and still no one's been repaired. We
And-
can't replace it or get rid of it.
Yeah, and I guess that's what I mean, I know that's more about day-to-day
But the-
type, but.
Like the train, that was going to be, next time we have a park committee meeting, is discussing that train.
And that'll be tomorrow night. I'll send an email out, the time for tomorrow.
But just thinking about, cause I know as we've added another park, and that's another one of those that might be Monday is looking at kind of focusing in on that one, Tuesday, but I don't know how, so I know some of those things they happen over the weekend, you left it Friday and it was in great shape, and then you maybe come back Monday and something's happened and,
Yeah, when you left it 6 months ago, it was in great shape, it things changed.
I don't know about that. I'm just saying, like, I think about how I try to approach things as, hey, start at the beginning of the week or at some point is, hey, we know, well, kind of like when you leave I hate to say it, like if you leave a restroom, like this has been signed off on, like there was, when we left it, it looked good. So we come back the next week on whatever day, now we see there's an issue, if it hasn't been reported. If it hasn't been reported, we picked up on it, we noticed it, we've ordered whatever needs to be ordered to fix. And they might be doing that, I don't know. So.
Do we have like a definite like calendar maintenance type program on these things?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying, like, is that like a maintenance
They
calendar?
do, they do periodic checks on things.
No, the check.
As far as the calendar, I don't know, I'd have to go get with Frank and pull his calendar. And sometimes it depends on the season and the grass and.
I mean, everything weather permitting. Sorry, I got off on a tangent. I apologize. As far as the personnel, everybody okay with it?
Yeah, because it is part-time, 29 hours.
15.
I'm sorry, 15 hours.
You okay?
But it was,
What, the numbers you see, I'm guessing y'all have those, were based on 29.
okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking. But it would be just going from part-time to 29, to permanent part-time 15.
Yes.
And the contract is no more than 15, or is it?
It's not a contract, but it's averaging 15, no more than 20 for the
Well,
average.
maybe we ought to pay another 14 hours, letting him ride around with a pad, to all this place to figure out what needs to be done.
Soap and water. Then the pad, then a bucket with soap and water.
There you go.
Yeah.
One of the points is, Janice is making, this guy's been a temp, he can only be a temp for 1 year.
That's
He
what,
helps her with depot rentals, and we're about to lose him, and she's gonna go into more overtime, getting
Yeah.
other people.
Well, if you've got someone that you like and trust and you already know their work ethic, that's well worth it. Anything else? Thank you. My sheet has Chris Patterson next. Yeah, see Chris.
It's not that simple,
Yeah.
then.
Mayor, did we have Chris or I thought we had Chris and Michael both coming tonight?
I don't know what happened, a miscommunication on my part. I'll talk about simple grants a little bit.
Okay.
Not really prepared, Chris would have been, I guess, but, you know, utility department got awarded a $5.8 million grant to make replacement of old cast iron gas mains. Very unusual to be able to get all the years I've been in this business, never been able to get a gas grant before. So I always say that's a business you need to take care of yourself. But with this last infrastructure bill, we were able to get that $5.8 million with the idea that we should be able to replace all the cast iron mains we have left in the ground. But it's a really pretty complicated grant, probably lasts over 3 years. And so we would like to hire this firm to administer that grant. The folks that did the grant application for us do not want to administer it because they have done several. They've got a bunch of these going and they just say they can't. It's too much, too involvement. So they're gonna be, I know Piedmont has hired them to oversee theirs, Childersburg has hired them, several places around the Birmingham area hired them, so that's their contract on the agenda to be able to hire them to do that. Initially, it's only, I didn't bring out paperwork, 'cause I thought Chris was gonna be here, but I think it was about, when it was $1,600.
$1,650, I believe.
And then, if there's any additional funding, it'd be it'd be $165 an hour after that initial amount. 60?
$1,650, I believe, is what y'all were
I think
talking
that's what it was.
$16.50 an hour for how many hours?
Well, the administration portion of that grant was $123,000 is what I recall.
This will be paid from the grant
Yes.
as well too. The maximum is $123,000.
Correct.
But this original application, original contract's only for, I think, 16,000. You remember Bert went to the webinar, I know, but, and I did not, but Patricia may remember those numbers.
I don't recall the amount.
That's fine, I mean, it's paid for out of the grant, I was just asking.
Sorry, I don't know that number, I didn't bring that paperwork in here, and I don't remember for sure.
It is on the agenda for tonight though, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
So any other questions about simple grants and,
You know, sir.
thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Next item is, multifamily residential development moratorium. Mark?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I think at the last meeting, we had talked a little bit about a moratorium for multifamily. Y'all should have the proposed draft ordinance in front of you. As far as this ordinance goes, what we're calling multifamily is apartments, multiple duplexes on one lot. Now, a couple years ago, if y'all recall, we added that. Used to, a duplex could only be one duplex on one lot. Now, if you have an acre, you can put 3 duplexes per acre. So apartments, multiple duplexes, and then single-family dwellings as it pertains to townhouses. You know, townhouses are common walls. So traditional multifamily being apartments, 2-family being multiple duplexes, or single-family only pertaining to townhouses. This has no effect on a traditional house. So as I had mentioned previously, it looked like Troy's ordinance was pretty good. So I basically took Troy's ordinance, changed Troy to Jacksonville, and
You did some tweaking on it.
and did a little tweaking. But we don't have anything on the agenda to approve tonight. We were hoping maybe to get it on the next agenda. But just wondering if y'all had any questions.
Mark had asked, we wanted to put it on this agenda, and I didn't know if there would be any questions or comments, or even public comments in there, for, if people hear this and they're automatically gonna think that we're doing something we're not. So,
And the
But you
initial
can't put it on-
moratorium is for 1 year. So during that time.
The purpose for the moratorium.
Yes, the
Got it.
purpose for the moratorium is for the city staff, or we could actually hire a consultant to assist us to study not only our utility infrastructure, our roads, our storm sewer, our police and fire. You know, we can just study the city and see how it's, you know, if we allow these multifamily developments, how is it going to affect the city?
And if you have any other thoughts on this, I mean, it was brought up, and Mark and I discussed it, I think Carrie and I had discussed it, and it is that we want the city to progress, we want the city to progress safely. And I think we may be getting that point that we need to make sure that we are aware of what the next 500-room complex could cost. Am I wrong?
You're right on the money. I just think, I'd rather be safe than sorry. And I think 1 year's of ample time to look, and if it's not, then we can.
And this would not affect anyone that's already been approved by
That
the
is
planning?
correct. If somebody's already been approved by the planning commission, this has 0 effect.
And it is written that it can be revoked at any point
At
by the
any point.
council.
If we get to a point 6 months down the road, then y'all can do whatever you wanna do. Or you have the choice at the end of this to extend it. But I'm hoping within a year we can figure out what direction we need to go.
Can we have that on the agenda next time?
I would hope that, I think that's fine, whatever, discuss, having the moratorium next time.
Oh, next time, okay.
Unless you're fast, you know, do one.
No, I think this gives opportunity, that way we don't, it doesn't make it appear that we're.
Trying to go too fast.
Yeah, trying to go too fast.
Well, and if I mean, I read through, looking at it again, and it's essentially just saying it's not no, but it's a not right now, not while this is in place.
Yeah, not, no, just not right now.
But it is looking at, I mean, all the things that have been said there, but I'm also thinking about, I mean, we've already seen the traffic congestion. Who was it mentioned earlier this weekend? That was Chief Cagle, right? Maybe?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's, the traffic congestion is anticipating this fall to be even more, looks like. So, I mean, I know, as Aldot has done their studies, that is on current, but that is not on future. And
That's true.
some of our secondary streets just a minute ago, Church Avenue was, because of 21 being shut down, there were 53-foot trailers on Church Avenue. That was interesting. And not interesting in the, like, oh, I don't want to watch this, but it was like, this can cause another accident. Now, that's not what we're talking about here, but that road was resurfaced 3 years ago, maybe, something like that. Not all roads have been resurfaced recently, and I think that could be it.
Have you talked to someone at Troy, have they had any drawbacks or
Well,
anything?
No, but the reason Troy, the person that I spoke with, she said the reason that they implemented theirs was because they had heard that somebody was wanting to build an apartment complex. I think she told me that had 80 units. The ones that we're getting, we have got multiple. No, I take that back, it was 80 beds. And the one that just got approved at the end of D Street's 504 beds.
Yep.
So whenever I told her that, she's like, oh my goodness, I can understand why, y'all want to do a moratorium.
And I'm glad the college is moving and the college is growing. We really don't have a lot of control over, but when they do use the infrastructure.
using the same
They're using the
infrastructure.
same infrastructure, so we need to make sure we know how this is gonna.
And just so that y'all know, the only development that has been approved that wouldn't be affected by this is the one at the end of D Street. There is nothing else out there pending, or that already has approved. So,
Thank you.
Thank
We good there?
I have a
I think
question.
You're next. Yes, ma'am.
Are we going to suspend the rules, or you wanna do it like we normally do for next time?
Normal.
Normal?
Yeah. I'd like to have those, if there is an opportunity for people who want to speak and ask questions, that would be, I don't want people to assume that we're trying to rush this.
You wouldn't anticipate a, lack of a better word, a run on submissions to the planning commission. I mean,
Well,
unless it's
no.
so far along in the process anyway.
No, because the planning commission deadline is already over for this month. The next submittal is in July, so if we start this process at the next meeting, then.
Gotcha, okay.
Yes, so we'll be covered there.
Okay.
All right, stormwater management discussion.
All right, we've got two different things to talk about on that. Let's talk about the ordinance first. We've got an ordinance and then a resolution. The ordinance is in regard to our current stormwater runoff management ordinance. I know the meeting that we had 2 or 3 meetings ago, or the comments that were made 2 or 3 meetings ago, this ordinance is just clarifying some things that were in our current stormwater management ordinance, which I do want to say that ordinance was written 2013, 2014. The stormwater program, our stormwater management program that I am responsible for implementing, that really didn't come into effect until around it all kind of happened in 2014, 2015. So this ordinance that I'm making clarification to, I maybe see how there was some misunderstanding, but our stormwater management program actually overruled the ordinance because that was brought down by the state. But I just wanted to make clarifications. So whenever you look at this ordinance, what's in red is what it was previously, and what's in black is what it's proposed to be. So hopefully y'all had time to look at that. And again, it wasn't really changes, it's just clarification. just to make it easier to understand. And it gets it more in line with what the state is requiring us to do now. So. Now, the other one is the ordinance, is the resolution, and that's actually clarifications to the stormwater management program. That's what I am charged to implement. So, there were just a few sections in there that we needed to make some clarifications on. And basically, you know, one of the topics that was brought up was the requirement to have the ADEM permit. We actually had a telephone conference with ADEM. We were told Mark Stevens was doing it the way it's supposed to be done. But what they did tell us was, instead of me making the decision on whether or not somebody has to have that ADEM permit, we're now gonna, ADEM says we can require that the contractor contact ADEM to let ADEM tell them that they have to have it or not. So that's what we've actually changed, is instead of me making the decision, now it's the contractor's responsibility to contact ADEM. So that, you know, kind of takes that.
Yeah, so it absolves you.
Absolutely.
Puts the burden on the contractor.
And the onus is to the contractor, and if enforcement is also with ADEM at that point.
Correct. We've always been able to put in our stormwater management program that ADEM could enforce it. We could check the box where ADEM makes the rules and also enforces it. What we had always done was check the box where ADEM makes the rules, but we would enforce it. So now it's the contractor's responsibility to contact ADEM to see if that permit is required.
And you have that on printed clearly on the form now, correct?
Absolutely. Yes, we added it to the building permit. At the top of the permit, it says that it's the applicant's responsibility to contact ADEM. So I'm no longer responsible for making that decision.
Congratulations.
We'll give him a diploma.
He's not asking for a pay
Celebration
decrease.
forthcoming.
Okay.
But, and both of those are draft, and we can start that process at the next meeting also.
That's good.
Now, what I guess, you know, if we do, like Patty asked a while ago about suspending the rules, it typically, to do an ordinance, it takes 2 meetings, right? The resolution can be done next meeting.
Yeah, for the ordinance.
But in regard to this stormwater issue, would we want to suspend the rules on that and try to take care of that ordinance and resolution at the next meeting?
I'd be for that.
You good?
Yeah.
Okay.
That way we get all
Let's
that
get it
taken
done.
care of.
Yeah.
We get it done.
It's fine.
Get her again.
All right.
Thank you,
Anything
Mark.
else?
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thanks, Mark. Okay, that's what I thought, not sure. 2024 Healthy City Concept and Partnership.
Yeah, and Janice had to leave, so
Mark.
she and Patricia has been working this issue, so
Yeah.
Patricia is.
Tricia gets the.
I get to be the bearer. So I'm coming to you tonight to talk to you about the National Fitness Campaign. We have been approached by this organization, I believe in the past. They've come back around to talk to the city of Jacksonville about incorporating a fitness court into the city of Jacksonville. And we had a meeting a couple of weeks ago with them, and they went over their program. What it is putting in, and I believe you all have the packet, so I'm sure you've been able to review it, but putting in these fitness courts in the city, they would like to put it somewhere where there is trail service, where there's opportunity for other activities while participants are enjoying the fitness court. The fitness court is, it is very interesting. It has 7 apparatuses on the court, and they state that it takes 7 minutes to go through them. And you utilize what's called your digital coach. So there's an app that you can put on your phone that kind of coaches you through the whole system. So, of course, there's a whole campaign that they go through, and the first step to that is coming before our leadership to talk to them to build a consensus about if this is something that is feasible for our municipality. The second step would be finding a site, a proposed site, and this is just proposed. We can always go back and look, but a proposed site for this fitness court would be at the public center complex near the park, or that area where the complex where they're putting in the pavilion and the pond. We're also looking at funding opportunities with this. The cost on this from the very beginning is $160,000. NFC grants, and she did state that they would grant up to $50,000 for this, which would then leave the city to cover anywhere between $110,000 and $130,000, which would include artwork, the concrete slab that would be put on the installation, and then the rest of the fitness court. Now, one thing we can do to cover those costs is look at additional funding from private or state entities, which we would go through grant applications. And I have started looking at a couple of opportunities that we could apply for. And of course, we would just have to see how that comes.
Was there a timetable you'd have to get the grants before you could respond to them to make it work?
At this point in time, as far as anything goes, we're already pushing into fiscal year 2025 for build and funding. So they would be on any of those budgets. Grants right now that are open, decisions won't be even being made on most of the grants right now until September. So they are also funding in the next fiscal year.
We'll be responsible for upkeep too,
Thank
right?
you. Yeah. Who would be, you may not know this, is that would PARD be responsible for the care and maintenance of this?
So they would, NFC, when we spoke with her, we did ask about that. They would provide an upkeep schedule. They do have it to where they could offer a contract to come out and do annual maintenance. But as far as cleaning and things like that, it would be the responsibility of PARD.
Would that contract be in the grant?
It is not part of the grant. It is just like an addendum for that, and there would be we would have to come up with that annual upkeep or maintenance that they would need to do.
I know there's been discussions between PARD and the police department, who actually is in charge of the pond and walking trail, all that kind of stuff like that. We moving forward on this, I'd like to make sure we're all clear on who's responsible for what.
Totally understand that, and that is something that I can bring up at our next meeting and find that out for you.
And it's for all ages, or is it just for adults?
It is for all ages, from youth to seniors.
I love looking at that
I do
information.
too.
I think that it's something that would be well received by the community.
I do too.
And
all
in
ages.
our area, there is a fitness court. It's actually the full program over at Chocolaca.
The park, yeah.
At the park. And I actually, since our meeting, have tried to go over twice to look around, and it's always very busy. So it is something that
Yes,
draws
as you go in
quite-
there on the left,
Yeah.
and it's nice.
It's quite active. So they say that it generally helps to bring out community members, and it does also accommodate with ADA compliance. So just to let you know that. Any other questions? Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Okay, let's go down to, I believe we have Rob, we're gonna discuss, 600 Francis Street East. How you doing, sir?
600 Francis.
600 Francis Street East. So it's a dilapidated structure. Been that way for a long time. We're at the point now that somebody's going to have to do something to get it down. I've been in discussions with the homeowner. We did a 30-day letter trying to arrange something between us. After we couldn't do that, we did a 45-day letter stating that the city was going to take down the building, and that's where we're at. Because of the size of the building and the lot size, it's going to be a bit more expensive than what we're used to paying for tearing down a building. Unfortunately, we don't have it in our budget to tear down this building.
And owner makes no effort, he doesn't care because he wants to see you take it down.
I think he believes that if we take it down, he could probably sell the lot, but also we're gonna put a lien
What kind
on
of
the
lien would
property
we
for
put?
the same amount of money that we said on it.
And how much you roughly, did I miss that?
21.5 was that quote. is that right?
21.5. Plus, we have some fees from the
Administrative fees.
lawyers,
Yeah.
and we're gonna also add that to the lien.
And we can get 21.5 back out of the lot. But it's gotta be taken down. I don't know if you're familiar, if you've ridden by.
Oh, I've seen it, man.
It's bad, but, and something to mention about fire department, but I said that's no way the fire department can do anything, no offense. I said there's nothing, I told one, I answered the question for you, so there's nothing they can do with that. The other structures are way too close.
I think if you look at the back of the building, Ms. Grant, can you scroll down? That right there, if you see the door and you see the gap on the right-hand side, the seal plate's messing almost all the way around that building, which is causing the whole thing to crumple in on itself. So I actually had a young man in there months ago. That's when we kind of decided that we were going to have to do something at that point. He was going up and down those stairs in the back.
Well, I mean, if it was a lien, if we ever got the land, at least we'd recoup something.
Well, I mean, I think the land is maybe 50 by 50. I don't really know what you could do with that.
21.5 back out.
We're not.
You could put
You
a
think we can get
sign on it.
$500 out of it?
I don't think you could.
It's possible. I don't know about the zoning.
Yeah, it's true.
At least if it was a vacant lot, you could look at something. So do we need to approve money for?
Correct.
Would be an expense.
Well, that's,
unbudgeted.
I mean, I know that the landowner, evidently, he's not, considering the liability of that house if somebody gets in there, but I think we owe it to people that we need to get it down.
And I did try to work with the homeowner to come to an agreement about repairing the house, but that never really went anywhere.
Is there anything out there that we could do as a council to help would consider the habitual offenders of things like this?
Mr. Joshua, we were talking, I think there's a company out of Anniston that will go on these dilapidated structures and charge homeowners. And I think the city, I believe they give a little bit back to the city, isn't that right, Josh?
What's the ratio?
They basically, they'll come in and look at all your structures,
Oh.
find all your people, and then do it for half, I think.
Yeah, we've heard, yeah, that's what I was remember then. Cause they were looking at commercial, residential.
Yeah, I think with the Burger King and
Yeah.
the Wendy's building, and there's definitely some buildings around Jacksonville that.
Well, I think if I heard you correctly, I don't wanna infer from your implication or however that is there, but if there's individuals who are habitually buying property with homes or places in this condition, and this happens
Or allowing them to.
Or allowing them to get to that, yeah, is, I guess it's just one of those, yeah, what recourse do you have?
Well, what we used to call the absentee landlords, that they're not of this area, so they don't care about this area, and they're allowing their own properties to deteriorate. We should be able to have something. I mean, if you had a house in your neighborhood, we wouldn't allow a house to get, or not any of our neighborhood to get to this level.
No, and it's detrimental to the properties that are surrounding that. I mean, they didn't choose for somebody to buy a piece of property and let it go by the wayside, but.
Richard,
yeah.
can we do an ordinance and we garnish their rent on all their other properties that we got?
Well, I hope they're not renting that.
Well, I mean, the other properties.
Oh,
these
that's,
people-
okay, good idea. I don't think, yeah, I think we're in agreement, we can move forward, let's discuss.
Yeah, I mean,
If anything that the brain trust could come with and bring back to the council, I'd be open to listen to it. Anyone else be open to listen
Yes,
to
sir.
it?
Okay, I'll work on that.
But all the 45-day expired.
Correct. And they have 30 days within that 45 days to come before you to give you a plan if they were going to remodel it. But I think this homeowner is elderly, doesn't really have the capability of taking care of any of the properties that he owns.
So we're at this point now where the matter's almost closed.
Yes, if you approve it and the contractor said he could get started on it pretty quick.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll have to, yeah, I mean, once that's approved or enacted.
Yeah, that's fine. Anything else, Rob?
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you, Tony. Is there any other business that can come before the council in work session?
I know it's something we mentioned at some point. I know as we are on the last item, aren't we?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
I was fine. I was picking out turn. As you're traveling east on 204, so coming into Jackson from the west side, there is a development that is outside the city limits. Right adjacent to that, it's not a city-owned sign, but it does say "Welcome to Jacksonville." I think that sign probably got bumped when there was some land clearing going on. I was a part of that refurbish of that sign maybe about 10 years ago, could be even longer than that now. That's probably off of, I don't know if that's off the right of way of Highway 204, I don't know where that falls within that property, but maybe find some way to work with whoever that is, and, I mean, I've talked with Rick about it, he and I put that sign up, I don't think it looks great, just remove that sign, but then maybe let's think about some other signage as you come into the city limits of Jacksonville, because there's more and more traffic that comes in. I travel that road now every single day, and I'm behind a lot of the same folks that are coming into Jacksonville from the US 431 that come in, and I know the university has the corner really right there at Pennsylvania, where Jim K. Stadium, Rudy Abbott Field, that was part of the ALDOT project that was being looked at on the 204 corridor.
That was discussed briefly for signage there.
Yeah.
I don't know where.
So, I mean, maybe just putting it out here as a, hey, we put it in the public for maybe looking at something on that side to welcome people into Jacksonville. I saw it too coming in from the Chief Ladiga, or not the GI Challenge, of how many people are coming in right there, and that's right as you come in. Obviously, just a chance to either mirror what we have on the north-south corridor of Pelham Road, or maybe a chance to do a refresh of what those look like, and really enhance that welcome to the city.
Right.
Very well.
Rick and I mentioned some of the signs that.
Yeah, and I had talked with him a little bit about it. I don't think he's so strong on wanting that sign. I mean, the sign got damaged and got put back up with duct tape and baling wire, maybe. I don't know what was holding it up, but
Originally a Kiwanis.
yeah. So there's a few other things. There was the Kiwanis sign that was there. And there might have been another social or
Exchange
civic,
Club?
it might have been the Exchange Club sign that was on it, but just something for us to maybe put on a future conversation.
Okay. Thank you for bringing that up. Anything else?
Well, where are we gonna get breakfast from?
I mean,
Whataburger's open 24 hours.
So, if there's nothing else, come from council, we can take a, if you would like, we can take a 5-minute break before we get started back.
take 5 minutes. Switch legs. Thank
Good
you.
night, good night.
we're on item 7 now, the adoption of the minutes that was sent out.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Now we have some additions to the agenda.
Correct. To the main agenda, add item 6, work session. E1 was fire department personnel discussion, Keith Cato. And E2 was the diesel exhaust system discussion, also Keith Cato. Also, to the main agenda, we deleted item 6, work session, which was item L, health insurance discussion, Alberta Grant. We also, to the main agenda, added item 18A, consider action to approve an additional position of police lieutenant, range 23. And then finally, to the consent agenda, add to item 21, budget amendment request. Item number 3, police. C is increase account number 10-02-6101-00-60203 in the amount of $786 for bulletproof vest reimbursement program.
Thank you, ma'am. Do I have a motion to accept the agenda as amended?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Next item is the public comments concerning any agenda item. This is your opportunity to address the council for anything that is currently on the agenda. Seeing no one come forward, we'll move on to the next item, item 10.
Consider action to approve the off-premise beer and wine license of Dogan Court LLC, doing business as Dollar General Store number 30439, located at 1165 West Point Road, Jacksonville, Alabama 36265, and it's in the police jurisdiction.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Item 11.
Consider action to rescind resolution number R-2208-24, awarding bid number 24-06, purchase of diesel exhaust system for fire department to Safe Air Corporation number 1.
So moved.
Second. Motion second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Item 12.
Consideration of resolution number R-2213-24 to reject all bids for bid number 24-06, purchase of diesel exhaust system for fire department.
Now, motion, do I have a second? Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Item 13.
Consider action to authorize the mayor to sign the agreement with Vertiv Corporation for battery replacement for dispatch battery backup per the attached.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Item 14.
Consider action to authorize the mayor on behalf of the Waterworks Gas and Sewer Board to sign the agreement for grant administration services with Grants LLC, doing business as Simple Grants per the attached.
So moved.
Second.
A motion in 2 seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Item 15.
Consider action to adopt the updated City of Jacksonville policies and procedural manual per the attached.
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
All right, a motion and second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Item 16.
Consider action to approve the amended job description for Human Resources Director, formerly Manager, range 23, per the attached.
So moved.
And
Second.
Second.
I'm sorry.
okay. And request the Civil Service Board's approval of same.
Now.
So moved.
Okay, now.
I second.
Okay, now I have a motion and second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Item 17.
Consider action to approve the new job description for Human Resources Assistant, range 10, per the attached, placing Pamela Mason in this position effective July 1, 2024, and request the Civil Service Board's approval of same.
So moved.
Second.
A motion in 2 seconds. Any discussion? I would just like to thank Joy and Pam and all those who worked on civil service and changing and doing. There's been a lot going on, a lot behind the scenes going on. So thank you everyone who took part of that to get us to where we're at now. So thank you. All right.
Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Item 18.
Consider action to approve the job description for auto mechanic trainee, range 7, per the attached,
moved.
and request the Civil Service Board's approval of same.
Sorry.
You're good.
We have a motion, do we have a second? Second. Motion and second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Item 18A.
Consider action to approve an additional position of police lieutenant, range 23.
So moved.
Second.
A motion second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Item 19.
Consider action to approve an additional position of part-time laborer, range 1, in the Parks and Recreation Department.
Do you have a motion?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Motion second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Item 20.
Consider action to approve the employment of the following. A is Michael Teague, part-time laborer in PARD, range 1, effective June 12, 2024. It's a new position. Mr. Teague is currently a temporary laborer. Item B is Jason Christopher Hawkins, police officer, range 18, effective upon compliance with ordinance number 273 due to the retirement of Michael Tedder.
So moved.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion is second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Consent agenda.
Item 21, budget amendments. Item 22, purchases over $7,500. Item 23, request to attend conference training session with cost exceeding $1,000.
So moved.
Second.
The motion's and second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Item 24 is public comments for any general item. Is there anything you'd like to address the council or discuss? This is your time to do so. Seeing no one come forward, we'll move on to council member remarks. Nothing, all right.
I have an announcement for, Juneteenth celebration at JSU at the Mirror Hall on June the 13th from 5 to 7, and they are inviting the community to come out and celebrate. And that's at the Mirror Hall on June the 13th, which is on a Thursday? Is it on Thursday?
This week?
It's on a Thursday, yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there
You're welcome.
anything else from council? Mayor?
Yes, a couple of announcements. Remind you about the flag football game coming up June the 15th, 9 a.m. That we need to get Piedmont Rescue standby, because y'all only $5 to see this great game, and the proceeds to go JCOC. So good event. Looking forward to that. And it was mentioned about Juneteenth holiday, that's our event, but that is a holiday for us, so city office will be closed that day. And then the Thursday Friday event coming up, I can't read that, but it's Southland Soul. We will be performing out here in the parking lot on that date.
June 21st.
June 21st, thank you. Okay.
Will that be our first one? Didn't the first one get run out?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was.
Okay. Hopefully we'll have great weather for that one.
Another one that got rained out was the movie night. That's been rescheduled for June the 28th, 7 p.m. again here. So Jack Fest, of course, is coming up July the 3rd. We always try to meet everybody on the celebration there and do ours on the 3rd. So again, it'll be out there around the lake at 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Fireworks probably go off about 9 when it gets dark enough. So keep that one in mind, because that's always a great event for us. And I did have some information I wanted to give you. I didn't give a chance to give it to Bert to do a slide for it, but just call your attention to a couple of things going on at the library. They've currently registered 492 children, teens, and adults for the summer reading program, and there's still time to sign up. You gotta have until July the 5th, so if you want to participate in that. This week they have big programs are Teen Sailboat Adventures on June the 11th at 2:30, where there'll be decorated small wooden sailboats. So they got a lot of exciting stuff going on. That Puppet Guy presents Aesop's Fantastic Fables on June the 14th at 2 p.m. for all ages. Morse code bracelet crafting for older teens and adults on June the 15th at 11 a.m. Just a lot of things going on at the library. I want to make you aware of that. So I didn't get the slide to kind of get it up there, but just amazing all the things we have going on with this library staff. Good job they do. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Is there any other business that comes before the council? Hearing and seeing none, I think,
So moved.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Well, I guess we need to vote. Here it is. Yeah, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, no, later not than usual, so please be